Before we wrap this chapter on shot matching, I kind of want to show you a nifty tool when you want to take your representative shots and kind of expand them out to the entire timeline and then take those grades and start applying them to shots of the same angle. So for instance, on this angle here, I want to find every shot that is from this angle and apply this color correction to it. Is there an easy way to do it? Because after all, this shot, if I open up my mini timeline, is one of many instances of this angle that could appear anywhere here in this timeline. Is there a way to simplify this? And the answer is yeah, otherwise I wouldn't be talking about it, right? We've got this blue flagged timeline that we've created by filtering by the blue flags. We assign those back in the movie on our hero shots, selecting our hero shots. I'm going to unfilter these and select all clips, and now we're back to our full timeline, and you can see now our hero shots are scattered throughout the timeline. When we're looking at this thumbnail view, and the thumbnails are in order of the edit being the mini timeline up here, in Resolve Land that's called A mode. And how do I know that? I'm going to come up to View, I'm going to come to Timeline Thumbnail Mode, and it's set for Record, A mode, record being timeline order. These thumbnails match the order they appear in the timeline. But I can change that. I can switch to C mode, come down here to source mode, and think of it, it's going to now arrange it by the source of the shots, not by the order in which they appear in the timeline. So I'll select that and take a look at the thumbnails as I make this selection. It's resorted everything, and now look at this. I've got this angle all lined up, and if I scroll back, somewhere in here, there it is. So there's the shot I graded up. And you know, the shot itself is at the very beginning of the timeline. You can see I've got the dissolve on top of it. I'll play into the shot. There we go. And then I click on shot number 26 here, and look, it jumps all the way over here into the timeline, and I go to this angle and it jumps up here, and then I go to this shot and it jumps down here. So what it's done is it's just resorted the shots. How did it resort these? It did it by first real name, and then within a reel, it sorts by time code. What am I talking about real name? Well, let's come back into our media pool. So I've got my ProRes LT folder selected. I'm going to now switch us into list view, and notice this column here, real name. Well, it turns out none of our shots have a real name. If it did, it would first sort all of these shots by the real name, and then within each name, it would sort by the start timecode number. Because technically all of these essentially have the same real name, which is none. Right now, Resolve is simply sorting by start timecode number. If I take a look at the thumbnails now and compare it to the color page, in fact, let's look at the light box. The light box should pretty much mirror what we see in the media pool, and it looks like it does. Just kind of quickly scan across, and now I'll jump back into the color page, and it pretty much does. And now that I'm in C mode, I can do things like, let's pull up our final look. Imagine for a moment this shot represents our final look. I'll play into it, find a nice representative frame, and save that off in our final look stills page. Then I'll come to these shots, and then I'll select the first one. I'll shift and click to select the last one. Now I've got all of these selected. Now I'm just going to middle click. And now my grade is copied across to all of these shots. Nice and easy, right? And I can continue doing that for all of these hero shots that I've already graded, and then start filling in the holes. And when I'm done with my C-sort, I just come up to View, change my timeline thumbnail mode back to record mode, and now everything is back in record continuity. Now there is a setting in project preferences. If I come to master project settings and scroll down to the very bottom, is sort timeline using real name and time code. This relates specifically to how the thumbnails are sorted in C mode. If I uncheck that, it's only going to sort by time code, not by real name, which, for instance, in a multicam situation would be very useful. If I had multiple cameras who are all fed time of day and edited into a sequence like that, now what I could do is go into a C sort. It's going to ignore the real name and give me all the shots that were recorded at the same time from all the different angles, making it a lot easier for me to check, for instance, continuity between camera angles. Cancel out of that. When you get to the point where you're working on a shot and you want to copy it to every instance that that particular shot shows up in your sequence, just turn on C mode, With any luck, a whole bunch of them will appear right there. Copy them across, away you go.